Hello and welcome to ILTV's Evening Update. I'm Aaron Porras here with the latest news from Israel. In Washington, pro-Trump alt-right activists clashed with anti-Trump protesters. The right-wing affiliated members were in front of the Ronald Reagan building to celebrate the election of President-elect Donald Trump and to hold a conference on white nationalism. The gathering turned violent when bystanders attacked the neo-Nazi group, and Washington police were on hand but were unable to prevent the violence. The extremist group members are part of the National Policy Institute, which supports anti-Semitism, racism, and xenophobia. There were minor injuries, and 2 people were arrested. President-elect Donald Trump's choice for CIA director is a strong opponent of the Iran nuclear deal. Congressman Mike Pompeo said that he looks forward to rolling back the year-old deal, which he calls disastrous, and the Republican hawk has warned in the past that Tehran is intent on destroying the United States, and he blames President Obama for enabling the Ayatollahs to expand their power. While on the campaign trail, Donald Trump bitterly criticized the deal, which lifted economic sanctions on the Islamic Republic, and Trump continues to call for the deal to be strictly enforced or dismantled. The 2014 conflict with Gaza was very deadly for Israel. 66 soldiers and 6 civilians were killed, while 469 troops and 87 non-combatants were wounded in the violence. Now, a report from the state comptroller about the handling of the 7-week conflict is due out next month. But based by claims on social media, the government is in for far heavier criticism than in earlier drafts. State Comptroller Yosef Shapira apparently found that Israel's senior echelon failed to adequately prepare for the severity of the threat posed by Hamas's attack tunnels, despite at least 13 briefings to the cabinet on the matter ahead of the conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon will take the worst heat from the government watchdog agency, while disapproval of the army's conduct has reportedly been toned down. The Israeli Defense Forces found and destroyed 34 of the subterranean passageways during the war, many of which lead directly from Gaza into the Jewish state. Sources close to the Prime Minister are said to refute the comptroller's findings. Both houses of the U.S. Congress just introduced a bipartisan bill aimed at slapping penalties on any businesses participating in the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against Israel. The legislation would extend 1970s-era measures that targeted companies cooperating with the Arab League's boycott of the Jewish state. The measures would not only impose fines on businesses practicing BDS, but expand on previous anti-boycott laws to include protection of Israeli settlements. The definition of boycotts would also be changed to include actions deemed to be politically motivated. Democratic Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland, who co-sponsored the bill, says it's also directed primarily at international governmental organizations. Although criminal penalties won't be imposed on violators, the legislation still goes well beyond current state and federal statutes. Cardin made it clear that while it's legitimate to criticize Israel, Congress will do everything in its power to prevent the BDS hate campaign from marginalizing the Jewish state. That's all for now. Stay tuned for ILTV.tv for our main daily broadcast playing after this. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you tomorrow with our morning briefing from Israel at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.